Texas is in what a counterterrorism expert calls a pre-kinetic jihad state. This is Friday, April 17th, 2026.
Texas Scorecard presents the day's first news for the Lone Star State. The Texas Minute, with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.
Thanks for starting the end of your week with the Texas Minute. Dallas and Austin city officials found out yesterday that their police department's new sanctuary city-style policies could cost them millions in state funding. More on that coming up. A former FBI counterterrorism expert is warning that Texas is already in a, quote, pre-kinetic phase of jihad. John Guindalo shed light on Sharia law and the Islamic agenda in a podcast conversation with the chairman of the Texas GOP, Abraham George. Guindalo said there is already what he called a massive jihadi network operating in the United States.
Just in Dallas alone, over 350 halal restaurants. We have now, as of last week, 314 mosques across Texas, and they are preparing for violent jihad. But so far, they haven't had a need to do it because, for the most part, our mayors and a lot of leaders in elected positions are taking a knee.
In the March primary, 95% of GOP voters gave support to a non-binding ballot proposition calling for the prohibition of Islamic Sharia law in Texas. The state's grid operator, known as the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, is projecting a surge in electricity demand over the next decade, driven largely by data centers, crypto mining, and new industrial facilities. ERCOT will be urging state regulators at a hearing today to pay attention to both the scale of the projected boom and the uncertainty that's baked into their early projections. According to ERCOT, the current record of 85,000 megawatts could be more than tripled by 2032, but the entity's leadership will be warning the Public Utility Commission at today's hearing that those high-end forecasts may not materialize for a variety of reasons outside the control of either the PUC or ERCOT. The PUC will have to weigh the cost of a build-out that might not be needed with the possible consequences of the grid not having enough capacity. By a mostly party-line vote yesterday, the United States House adopted legislation authored by Republican U.S. Representative August Pfluger of San Angelo that's designed to protect energy-producing regions like Texas' Permian Basin from regulatory uncertainty. Pfluger's proposal would amend the Clean Air Act to clarify that emissions from outside U.S. borders cannot be used to designate areas as failing federal air quality standards. It specifies that foreign emissions, as well as those caused by natural events like wildfires or dust storms, must be excluded when determining whether an area meets national air quality standards. The measure now heads to the U.S. Senate for consideration. The Texas Minute will be right back.
News and analysis on what's happening in Texas. End your day with daily headlines from Texas Scorecard. Every day at 5 p.m., join me, Brandon Waltons, as we recap the biggest stories of the day and talk about why they matter to you. From the state capitol to town hall, there's no shortage of events happening. Keep up with it all. Watch and subscribe to Daily Headlines from Texas Scorecard.
In letters sent to the mayors of Austin and Dallas yesterday, Governor Greg Abbott is warning that those cities could lose millions of dollars in state grant funding over new policies limiting police cooperation with federal immigration authorities. The Austin Police Department's general orders were recently updated to prohibit officers from arresting or detaining individuals solely on the basis of ICE administrative warrants. Going forward, supervisory approval will be required before APD officers can notify federal authorities or extend a detention. In Dallas, a new policy authorizes members of the DPD force not to notify ICE about a person's immigration status, nor are Dallas police allowed to detain illegal aliens for federal authorities. According to the governor's office, the new rules contradict certifications signed by both cities' officials that their police departments would fully participate in federal immigration enforcement programs. State records indicate that Austin received roughly $2.5 million in public safety office funding for fiscal year 2026, while Dallas received more than $32 million. If those grants are terminated, the cities could be required to repay the full amount and become ineligible for additional funding for at least a year. If this dispute sounds familiar, it's because a similar fight is unfolding in Houston, where the city is facing a $110 million loss in state funding. So what is it with these city bureaucrats intent on aiding and abetting illegal aliens? It's almost like the city officials don't think they work for the voters. You can find the details on all the stories mentioned today and keep up with the latest news by visiting TexasScorecard.com. This edition of the Texas Minute was produced by Nick Shepard and based on the original reporting of Hunter Burney, Sidney Henry, and Brandon Waltons. I look forward to seeing you out around the Lone Star State. Now, go in the week strong and make it a great weekend.